Hello everyone. So welcome to the part 3 video of NCERT as it is review on this first physical chemistry chapter in 11, which is some basic concepts of chemistry. Now those who are looking at this video, right, you can also take a look at the previous parts. So we already made part 0, which is like a lot of history related to the evolution of science and understanding of chemistry. Then we have part 1, part 2a and part 2b. So if you go through them, you will be having a continuity of the learning. Now in part 3, right, this session we are going to be looking at the idea of mole concept. So this is something that we already have some context based on our learnings in the 9th standard. And also using the percentage composition of a substance, how do we find the molecular formula? So today if I say glucose, the first thing that will come to our mind is what? C6H12O6. If I say methane, the first thing that will come to our mind is what? CH4. If I say carbon dioxide, means you will think of CO2, right? What are all these? These are all molecular formula, correct? So how do we get them? We'll have a method. So we'll have a procedure to find out what is the molecular formula of different substances. We'll see how that will be done. So first, to get the idea of mole, see, remember, mole is also what? It is the SI unit for the measurement of the quantity of a substance. Like, normally if you are counting things, right? So if you say dozen means what? 12 items. If you are looking at, I'm sure a lot of us watch cricket, right? IPL or even general Indian matches also. So when you look at a player scoring runs, you will be asking whether he has scored a century or he has scored a half century, like that. So what is it? Instead of saying 100 or a 50, you are saying a century or a half century. So these things will actually simplify our way of counting. But when it comes to counting atoms or molecules, the chemical species, we can call them as what? All of them we can call them as what? Chemical species. Because they will be large in number. So you use this large number. That is what we will be calling as the Avogadro number. So we will see, how that Avogadro number also has come. But this Avogadro number, right? What is the value of this? I mean, we can see it up to 6.022 14076 in 10 power 23. But for our practical purposes, we can say what? 6.022 into 10 power 23. If it is like very much required, usually we will not do it, but if it is like very much required, even you can take it like, that is like some more approximation or simplification. Okay, so even if you take it like what? 6 in 10 power 23. Like if you want to even do the approximation of those decimal places. So this number, right, is represented by what? Capital subscript A. Okay, and what do we call it as? This is basically Avogadro number. So 1 mole, how do you define 1 mole? It will exactly contain 6.022 into 10 power 23 chemical species, or you can call it as chemical entities. Okay, and this number is what we will be calling as the Avogadro number. There are a lot of interesting things that we can learn when we try to see how the idea of the Avogadro number has come. So based on his own studies, right, when the atomic mass and molecular mass ideas were established, so we'll say what? Atomic mass of say for example helium is 4 AMU. Similarly, suppose atomic mass of iron is approximately, I'm saying 56 AMU. If you take exactly 4 grams of helium and count what is the number of helium atoms, if you take exactly 56 grams of iron, same value 56, but the unit is what? In terms of grams, and count what is the number of iron atoms in that, right? Those number of atoms were coming approximately to what? 6.022 in 10 power 23. So that is how the Avogadro in fact has come up with this number. So when you have the mass which is just same as numerical value same, But unit is what in terms of grams. If you take that much amount of helium means it will contain how many helium atoms? 6.022 and 10.23. If you take 56 grams of iron, that was containing what? Same number. So he has proposed the idea that the mass of any substance expressed in terms of grams will always contain the same number of particles, and that count is what he was referring to as the Avogadro number. In fact, that's a lot of history behind it. The concept of Avogadro number, like the way we discussed, right, his ideas were actually getting recognition after his death. Okay, so that's the irony that we sometimes will have, but yeah, that's how the concept of Avogadro number has come. But what is this Avogadro number? It is used to define 1 mole. 1 mole means what? Collection of these 6.022 in 10.23 entities. It can be atoms, it can be molecules. So the way we talked about it, right? How do we get this number? If you take 12 grams of carbon, because what is the the atomic mass of carbon? Atomic mass of carbon is 12 AMU, right? You take exactly 12 grams of carbon, same value but in terms of grams, and in that we will try to calculate what is the number of carbon atoms, because if you see that in the current situation we have methods to find exactly what is the mass of a single carbon atom using mass spectrometer. So if that mass of one carbon atom is coming as 1.992648 in 10 power minus 23 grams, if you divide 12 grams by the mass of each carbon atom, right, we will be able to get what is the number of carbon atoms present in 12 grams, and that number you see, what is it? 6.022 in 10 power 23. So this is how we can calculate the value of the Avogadro number, and that's how he has also arrived. Okay, now the thing is, when you are talking about representation of Avogadro number, right, it is important to note the idea of significant figures. So if you have representation as a 6.022 into 10 power 23, what are we talking about? We're talking about the number of significant figures to be equal to what? 4. Whereas if you are going for this kind of representation, 6.022 1367 in 10 power 23, so we're talking about what? More number of significant figures. So the representation of the Avogadro number, or any constant also for that matter, is based upon what is the level of confidence or what is the level of certainty we have in the measurement value. Okay, so when you look at the mole, it can be applied for anything. So if you say 1 mole of hydrogen atoms means what? We're talking about 6.022 in 10 power 23 atoms. If you take 1 mole of water molecules means what? 6.022 into 10 power 23 water molecules. If you say 1 mole can be used for anything, okay, I can say 1 mole of marker pens also, but obviously that much count will not be there, but yeah, it can be used for anything. So 1 mole of sodium chloride means what? You will have 6.022 into 10 power 23 formula units of sodium chloride. Remember, what is the formula unit of sodium chloride? NaCl. That is the formula unit of the sodium chloride, right? So you will have what? 6.022 in 10 power 23. That many number of formula units of the sodium chloride. Like here we can talk about the idea of number of moles. Like say for example, we already talked about what is a dozen. What is a dozen? 12. Say for example, I have 36 bananas. Okay, then if I ask you, what will you say in terms of number of dozens? How do you tell me? You will probably quickly tell me that it is what? 3 dozens, isn't it? How do you get this number 3? Because what is the number of bananas? 36 divided by what is a dozen? 12, right? Similarly, if you want to find what is the number of moles, let's say I am giving you some count of particles. So given number of particles. So why I am using the word particles? It may be referring to atoms, it may be referring to molecules, it may be referring to these formula units also. Given number of particles by Avogadro number. Because dozen, if you want to calculate number of dozens means what? You are divided by 12. because 1 dozen is equal to what? 12. If you want to calculate what is the number of moles means, you have to divide this with what? Avogadro number. So that's how we can find what is the number of moles. So number of moles is what? So just to know, this is an important one. How do you calculate the number of moles in a substance? Based on the count of particles. What is it? Given number of particles by Avogadro number. Avogadro number means what? 6.022 into 10 power 23. That's it. Now, when we look at particularly the atomic form, so what we are saying is, if you talk about 1 mole of atoms, the mass, as we discussed it, right, the mass will be exactly same, numerical value will be same as what? Atomic mass, but unit will be in terms of grams. Like say for example, we'll start with some like we say helium. 1 mole of helium atoms means it will have, because the helium atomic mass is 4 AMU. So the 1 mole of helium atoms, right, will have how much mass? 4 grams. See, look at this. No, this is having the same value as the atomic mass, but unit only will be grams. That is the reason why we will be also calling it as gram atomic mass. So see how beautifully the word is, given, gram atomic mass. So the mass will be in the units of the grams. Numerical value will be same as atomic mass. What is the difference? Atomic mass means what? Mass of one atom. Gram atomic mass means what? It will be mass of 1 mole of atoms. Okay. So this one, right, 1 mole of atoms means what? It will be having Avogadro number of helium atoms. What is Avogadro number? 6.022 into 10 power 23. So this is how we will be able to correlate. So 1 mole of atoms means what? The weight will be equal to gram atomic mass. How many number of atoms will be there exactly in that? Avogadro number of atoms will be there. This 1 mole of atoms, right, is also sometimes referred as 1 gram atom. Instead of saying the word 1 mole of atoms, we can also call it as what? 1 gram atom. Okay. So now, previously we have seen how do you count number of moles, or how do you estimate number of moles based on the particles. What is the formula? Given number of particles by Avogadro number. So here we will see how do you count the number of moles based on the mass. 1 mole means what is the mass? The gram atomic mass. So if you want to calculate what is the number of moles, it will be equal to given mass in grams, we will take it, divided by what is the gram atomic mass. Suppose somebody is saying that we are having some 18 grams of carbon. In that we want to calculate what is the number of moles of carbon atoms. Remember, number of moles of carbon atoms can be also called as what? Number of gram atoms of carbon. Okay. So if you want to calculate what is the number of moles of carbon atoms in these 18 grams, what you have to do? Given mass by what is the gram atomic mass of carbon? It will be what? 12 grams. Remember, gram atomic mass means what? The value will be numerically same as atomic mass. The only thing is the unit will be grams. Gram gets cancelled. What is it? So that is the number of moles of carbon atoms. So we have what? 1.5 moles of carbon atoms in the 18 grams. So this is how we can find what is the number of moles of atoms when you are having the mass of the substance given. So here two things are there. What are the two things? One is how do you calculate the number of moles based on particles? Given number of particles by Avogadro number. Second is what? How do you calculate the number of moles based on the mass that is given to us? So here we are discussing about what? The substance which are in the atomic form. Okay. So now we will look at the molecular form. So if you look at mass of one molecule, right, that is what we call as the molecular mass. Molecular mass means what? If you take mass of one molecule, like say for example, we talk about CO2 itself. CO2 has got one carbon and two oxygens. So carbon is what? 12 AMU, and 2 oxygens means what? 2 into 16 AMU. So we'll see that approximately what is it? 44 AMU. Why? Because we are taking off the rounding of numbers. That is the molecular mass. If you take 1 mole of CO2 molecules, see carefully, 1 mole of CO2 molecules means in that we'll have 1 mole of carbon atoms plus 2 moles of oxygen atoms. Why? Because look at the formula, CO2, 2 oxygens. In every molecule, 2 oxygens are there, right? You take 1 mole of molecules means the number of oxygen atoms will be what? 2 moles. 1 mole of carbon atoms means what is the mass? 12 grams. 2 moles of oxygen atoms, what is it? The mass of 1 mole of substance like CO2, right? Look at this. Value wise it is 44, same as the molecular mass, but it is in terms of grams. So that is the reason why, just like we have used the word gram atomic mass, right? Here we will be calling it as what? Gram molecular mass, but this is more commonly known as what? Molar mass. What is it? Molar mass means what? It is mass of 1 mole of the substance. Generally we are talking about what? We are talking about the molecular substances. Like if you have, and the thing is very simple. The value will be same as the molecular mass. The only difference will be what? It will be in grams. So if you want to talk about the molar mass of water, see, we will be very often using the word molar mass. What is the molar mass of water? It is what? 18 grams. What is the molar mass of sodium chloride? 58.5 grams. See, molar mass, we will always indicate this with the unit, like say 58.5 gram per mole. Basically saying this is the mass per 1 mole of the substance. That is the reason why we are having what? Per mole always taken as the unit value. Okay. So this is about the concept of the molar mass. Now just like the way we talked about the atomic species, right? For the molecular species, so we're talking about the molecular species, then like we can take the example of the CO2 itself. 1 mole of CO2 means what? The mass of this will be 44 grams. And this basically contains what? Avogadro number 6.022 into 10 power 23 molecules of CO2. That is the Avogadro number of molecules. So if you want to calculate the number of moles of CO2 based on the mass, like the way we have done for the atomic species, right? Here we can do for the molecules. Number of moles, because 1 mole of CO2 means what? 44 grams, right? Number of moles will be given mass, that will be in grams, divided by the molar mass. So what is the formula for calculating the number of moles based on mass? Given mass divided by molar mass, because molar mass means what? That is going to contain 1 mole, right? So you want to calculate the number of moles means given mass by molar mass. Think of it, okay? So we'll say that there is a 24 grams of methane that is there with us. What is the amount of methane? 24 grams. We want to calculate the number of moles. Generally, you know, number of moles is represented with the symbol small n. I think in one of the previous discussion, right, in that gas equation formula, remember, they talked about this small n. What is small n? Number of moles. That is how we will usually indicate the number of moles. Okay, so look at this. Number of moles in this case will be what? What is the given mass of methane here? 24 grams. What is the molar mass of methane? Look at this. Methane means what? CH4, right? What is the molecular mass of methane? 16 AMU. So molar mass will be what? Just the same, 16 value will be same, but it will be grams. Gram gets cancelled. What is it? What is the number of moles of methane in 24 grams? It is what? 1.5. So this is how we will be able to calculate the number of moles based on the mass. Now we can see some sample questions. Calculate the number of atoms. So here what we have to calculate? We have to calculate the number of atoms in each of the following. So we will go one by one. First is what? 52 moles of argon is there. See, 1 mole of argon means what? Avogadro number. 1 mole of argon means what? It will be containing Avogadro number. 52 moles means what? 52 into Avogadro number of argon atoms. If you want, you can put the value of Avogadro number and then try to simplify, but we will not do it here. Okay. So what is it? 52 into Avogadro number means what? 6.022 in 10 power 23. Those many number of argon atoms are there. Now look at the next one. What is it? 52U. See, this is not in grams. This is what? This is in terms of the unified mass. 52U of the helium that is given. Helium, what is the atomic mass? 4 AMU or 4U. Means mass of one helium atom is what? 4U. We are having 52U, right? So number of helium atoms. How do you get it? The given mass by what is mass of one helium atom? What is it? It will be what? 13. So in that 52U, how many helium atoms are there? Just 13 helium atoms are there. Now look at the third one. It's not 52U, it is about 52 grams. So here we can calculate first what is the number of moles. How do you calculate the number of moles? Number of moles will be what? Given mass in gram by the gram atomic mass of helium. What is it? 4 grams. So here you see what is it? The number of moles is what? 13. But they are asking us number of atoms, right? So number of atoms will be what? Each mole will have how many atoms? Avogadro number, right? 13 moles are there, means 13 into Avogadro number. We can substitute the value of Avogadro number and then simplify. Okay. So like this we will be able to calculate. Next, this is a exercise question. See, we are even picking the questions only from the NCERT textbook, so that we don't go too much beyond the NCERT. Which one of the following will have the largest number of atoms? Remember, largest number of atoms. 1 gram of Au is what? Gold. 1 gram of sodium. 1 gram of lithium. 1 gram of chlorine. See, first, number of moles of atoms. How do you get the number of moles of atoms? Given mass, each of them, right? For each of them, we'll just do one by one. For each of them, given mass is what? Gold is 1 gram. What is the gram atomic mass of gold? Approximately some 197. This is the number of moles of atoms. They're asking which has got the largest number of atoms. So from here, how do you get the number of atoms? Because 1 mole means what? Avogadro number, right? So it will be what? 1 by 197, gram gets cancelled, into Avogadro number. Second, let's look at the second case. 1 gram of sodium. So first thing is what? Number of moles of sodium will be what? 1 gram by what is the gram atomic mass? 23. From here we can calculate what is the number of atoms. What will be the number of atoms? 1 by 23 into Avogadro number. Then third option is what? 1 gram of lithium solid. So look at this, I'll write it here because of lack of space. 1 gram of lithium means what? The number of moles will be 1 gram. Lithium gram atomic mass will be approximately 7. From here, number of atoms of lithium means what? Because 1 mole means Avogadro number, right? Here we are having 1 by 7. 1 by 7 means what? 1 by 7 into Avogadro number. That many atoms are there. Look at the fourth one. We'll write at the top because I think that is the only space that is left out. Okay. So yeah, come here. We'll write at the top. Fourth one. Chlorine, right? So the number of moles will be what? Here I'm talking about the number of moles of chlorine atoms, not the molecules. If we are having given mass by gram atomic mass, right, that will give us what? Number of moles of atoms. So I am going to divide the given mass 1 gram by the gram atomic mass, 35.5 grams. So we will get what? Number of moles of chlorine atoms straight away. From here we want actually what is the number of atoms of chlorine, right? Number of atoms means what? 1 by 35.5 into Avogadro number. They are asking us which of them has got the largest number. So all of them, right? Numerator is same. Check it. Everywhere the numerator is same, right? So it is what? Always Na. Here also Na. Here also Na. Here also Na. Largest means what? Wherever the denominator is least. that particular value will be highest, isn't it? So look at the denominator 23, 197, 7, 35.5. Where is it least? It is least in the case of the lithium. So this one, right, 1 gram of lithium is going to have the largest number of atoms. 1 gram of lithium is going to have the largest number of atoms. Okay, so this is how we will be able to proceed for questions like this. Now we'll just summarize. If you talk about 1 mole, okay, in terms of mass, in terms of the mass, right, if we are referring to the atomic form, the mass will be equal to what? Exactly the 1 gram atomic mass. And if you are talking about the molecular substances, the mass will be equal to what? 1 gram molecular mass, which is also called as what? Molar mass. If you are talking in terms of ionic, this is what is it? This is the ionic substances, right? We will be generally calling it as what? 1 gram formula mass. Like, you know, for NaCl, right? 1 gram formula mass will be what? 58.5 grams. 1 mole in terms of particles, what is it? 6.022 into 10 power 23 particles, Avogadro number of particles. Now this is a thing, if you are referring to the gases at what we call as the STP conditions, okay, standard temperature and pressure conditions, we will talk about it as we go, because in stoichiometry we will discuss about it. The volume occupied by 1 mole of a gas, right, that is what we will be referring to as the molar volume. What is it? The volume occupied by 1 mole of a gas, right? What do we call it as? We will be calling it as the molar volume. So the molar volume of gas at STP conditions, standard temperature and pressure conditions, will be how much? 22.4 liters. So you take 1 mole of hydrogen gas, 1 mole, that will occupy how much volume at STP conditions? 22.4 liters. You take 1 mole of oxygen gas at STP, how much volume it is going to occupy? Same. So any gas you take, 1 mole of the gas at STP conditions will occupy how much volume? 22.4 liters. This is what we will be calling as the molar volume of the gas at STP. So what is it called as? Molar volume of the gas at STP. Okay. So about this, just, you know, make a note of it. We will talk about it again when we go to the discussion on the stoichiometry part. Okay, because how do you calculate the volume of a gas, right? We will come to know only when we go to the states of matter chapter. But there is also something else that we need to discuss about the molar volume concept that we will do in the stoichiometry section. Okay, so this is the full picture of the mole concept. Now the second part is about how do you get the molecular formula of the substances. So generally, you know, whenever any compound or substance is given to us, right, the first thing that we will be thinking is, what is this? Like, you know, some blue color is given to us, some white color is given to us, white powder is given to us, white crystals are given to us, or some, you know, a liquid state we are given some compound. So every time whenever something is given to us, right, we will be thinking, what is the formula of the substance? What are the constituents? And in what ratio these constituents or elements are present in the compound. So the main thing is this formula. So what is this formula that we are talking about? It is called as the molecular formula. So the thing is, you know, we'll see how we will be able to get this molecular formula. But before we go there, right, we'll have to first understand about the estimation of this percentage composition. So how do people estimate the percentage composition? Say for example, we are having a given mass of a substance. Okay. In that, it is said that we have what? We are having oxygen and we are also having what? Hydrogen. The mass percentage of hydrogen, let's say we take the molar mass of water. What is the molar mass of water? I mean, these are all the exact values, 18.02 grams. How do you get the mass percentage of hydrogen in that? the mass of that element divided by molar mass into 100. So what is the mass of the element? We have two hydrogens, right? So 2 into what is the mass of each hydrogen? 1.008 divided by 18.02 into 100. That will give us what is the mass percentage. What will be the, and that value comes to is 11.18. What will be the mass percentage of oxygen? Whatever is the mass of oxygen contributed, 16 divided by total mass of the compound, 18.02 into 100. That will be what? 88.79. You can see one thing here. If you add up all the percentages, right, that will be giving us what? 100. Because in anything, when you add up all the percentage, we will get what? 100. So we can estimate what is the mass percentage of different elements in a given compound. Okay, and this we are doing after knowing that, okay, water is got a formula of H2O. But there are methods to find out what is the mass percentage of different elements in a compound. And usually when we are saying the mass percentage of element, like in the discussion about the law of definite proportions, right, we said cupric carbonate, mass percentage of carbon, mass percentage of copper, mass percentage of oxygen, they were established, whether you get it from a natural source or you get it from the synthetic source. So remember, those mass percentages are estimated based on what we call as quantitative studies. So in what we call as analytical chemistry, right, we'll have two things. One is quantitative, which is about the measurement. Second is qualitative. So the quantitative, about the measurement part, we will be able to find out what is the mass percentage of each of these elements in a compound. It will not be coming like this. This calculation we are doing after knowing that, okay, water has got a formula H2O. Similarly, like, if we know that the formula of ethanol is what? C2H5OH, we can find what is the mass percentage of each of the elements. What is the mass percentage of carbon? Whatever is the, because we have two carbons in that, mass of carbon in that divided by molar mass into 100, 52.14. We can find what is the mass percentage of hydrogen. We have how many hydrogens? 6 hydrogens divided by molar mass into 100. That will be what? 13.13. The mass percentage of oxygen, what is it? We have only one oxygen, 34. You can see here, when you add up these three, right, it will be adding up to what? 100. Okay, so here the thing is, we are getting these mass percentage values after knowing the formula. But as I said, right, there are quantitative methods to find out the mass percentage without even knowing the formula. In fact, as I said, right, people have first found what are the mass percentage values of different elements using the quantitative studies. And from there, they started working for the formula of the compound. So when we say formula of the compound, right, so here we are referring to two formulas. One is what we call as the empirical formula, and second one is of course the molecular formula. So what is molecular formula? We know it will basically show what is the exact number of atoms of different elements that are present in a molecule or a compound. Like say for example, we say the molecular formula of glucose is what? This is the molecular formula for the glucose. What is it? C6H12O6. So it tells us that there are, if you take one glucose molecule, means what? We have 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens and 6 oxygens. Empirical formula is basically a representation of the simplest whole number ratio of various atoms present. Means what? If you look at it, right, what is the simplest? You want to get the simplest whole number ratio, what is it? You can divide everything by 6, right? What is it? 1:2:1. So I can say the empirical formula for the glucose, right, is what? C1H2O1. I mean, I can also write like what? CH2O, like that. So what is this? This is what is the empirical formula. Now the thing is, ultimately we want to find out what is the molecular formula. But from the mass percentage data, first thing that we will be able to get is the empirical formula. First thing that we can get is what? This empirical formula. This is the first thing. From here we will be able to go and find out what is the molecular formula. Okay. So if the mass percentage of various elements in a compound is given, are known to us. Where we'll get it? We'll have to get it from the quantitative studies. We can find what is the empirical formula first. That is the first step. Once we get the empirical formula right, we will be able to find the molecular formula. How we will be able to find out the molecular formula? I'll just quickly show it to you. If you look at the empirical formula and molecular formula, right, they both are related by a factor. You see, what is the factor here? The common factor that is used for the cancellation. No, in this case, what is it? What is the common factor here? It is 6. So look at this, what you say, molecular formula, right? What is molecular formula? It is basically empirical formula in a way times the common factor. What is the common factor here? This is basically what we can call it as a common factor value of 6, because that is what is getting cancelled to get the simple whole number ratio. Now the thing is, we are saying what from the experimental mass percentage data values, we will be able to first get this. Okay, empirical formula will come. If you know what is this common factor, right, by multiplying the empirical formula with the common factor, we will be able to get this one, molecular formula. So now our task is, how do we get this common factor? The common factor values, right, will be found by using the relation between the molar mass and empirical mass. What is it? We will find the common factor, right, by using what? The relation between the molar mass and the empirical mass. How? We will just see it. What is the empirical formula for the glucose? CH2O. If I ask you what is the empirical mass, so empirical mass means we will have to give a mass based on this formula. We have what? 1 carbon, 12 grams, plus 2 hydrogens, plus 1 oxygen. What is it? 12 plus 2 is 14. So totally what is it? 30. What is the molar mass of glucose? We already have it, 180 grams. So look at this, no, the molar mass divided by the empirical mass. What is it? 180 by 30, isn't it? That is what is our common factor. Common factor is what? Always it will be what? The molar mass value divided by empirical mass. Once we know the empirical formula, so first what we are saying, we will get the empirical formula, right? Once we know the empirical formula means we will have the empirical mass in our hand. And I think I already mentioned about it. There are methods to find out the molecular mass or molar mass. We can find out the molecular mass without even knowing what is the formula. So we will study about them in +2 in liquid solution chapter, right? So one of the things that we have in our syllabus, there are different methods also, but what we have in our syllabus is the method to find the molar mass or molecular mass of a substance by using the colligative properties. So this you can just make a note of it. When we will get this, we will get this in a +2 chapter solutions. We will talk about it. How we will use the colligative properties to find some, for example, some substance is given to me. Usually we will measure the colligative properties for solutions. I will make a solution by using this substance. I don't know what is the solid also. When I measure the colligative properties, right, what is colligative property and all that, I am not going to get into the details. When you measure the colligative property, right, without even knowing what is the formula of the compound or anything, we will be able to find out what is the molecular mass. Okay, so we have empirical formula means you will know empirical mass. If they are giving us, this should be given. If they are giving us the molar mass or molecular mass means take a division. Molar mass by empirical mass gives us what? Common factor. Use the common factor here and then find the molecular formula. This is the method I am showing it, okay? But I will just explain the entire thing. So we look at this illustration. This is in fact not NCERT textbook example. So because we have only one example based on the NCERT, so we thought we will take up one extra question and we will get the additional practice. Usually we don't want to do it. We want to stick mostly to the NCERT textbook, but since it is an important idea, right, we want to get one extra question. So compound is containing carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. The mass percentage values are given. Sometimes what they do is they will exactly give us the values, like carbon is having some 10 grams, hydrogen is having some 2, like that they will give us the exact mass values itself in terms of grams. If they give us the percentage, right, let's say we take a 100 gram sample, percentage means what, out of 100? No, means what, if you look at it, the sample carbon amount will be what, 71.23 grams, hydrogen amount is what, 12.95, what about the oxygen, 15.81. So we look at what are these elements, gram atomic masses. Carbon is 12, hydrogen is 1 approximately, oxygen is what, 16. From here we will calculate what is the number of moles of atoms for each element, right? We will calculate what is the number of moles of atoms. How do you do it? Given mass by gram atomic mass. So number of moles of atoms, right? How do you get it? Each of these elements, 71.23 by 12. So here, of course, some amount of little bit of math rigor will be required. But the beauty will be, we will be, in these questions, right, we will be able to do some easy approximations, because at the end of the day, the empirical formula or molecular formula will be what? It will be in terms of simple whole number values, right? So we will be able to do good amount of approximations and still we can get the answer correctly. So we'll see here. So 71.23 by 12 will be approximately 5.936. 12.95 by 1 means what? We can say 12.9. 15.81 by 16 is what? 0.988. Now we want to get, so this is the actual number of moles of atoms. The next step is what? What is empirical formula? Empirical formula is basically what? The simplest whole number ratio. So we have to get what is the simplest whole number ratio, right, in which these atoms are present. So how do we get it? Usual method is, among these number of moles of atoms, right, so which is the least one? We will take the least one and divide everything else with this number. That way we can find what is the simplest whole number ratio in which these elements are present. So let us see, we will divide everything with what? 0.988. Let's do it. 5.936 by 0.988 will be what? Approximately 6. This is where I said the final simplest ratio, right? We will be able to round it off to the nearest whole numbers. 12.95 by 0.988 will be what? Approximately 13. 0.988 by 0.1. So you see here, what is that? The simplest whole number ratio means what? Carbon 6, hydrogen 13, oxygen 1. So we'll say the empirical formula will be what? C6H13O1. But generally 1 we will not write, so we'll say what? C6H13O. This is what is the empirical formula. So you can see clearly it is giving us the simplest whole number ratio in which the atoms of the different elements are present. This is what we will be calling as the empirical formula. Now we said we can also find the molecular formula, right? So we have an example. This is our NCERT book example. Compound contains 4.07% hydrogen, 24.27 carbon, 71.65 chlorine. These are all what? Mass percentages. Then we will say what? We are taking 100 gram sample. Okay, so look at this. What do we have? We have carbon, hydrogen, and what is the third one? Chlorine here. Atomic mass carbon is what? 12. Hydrogen is 1. Chlorine is what? 35.5. The mass of these elements, look at this. What about the carbon? Where is carbon? This is 1. 24.27. What about the hydrogen? Where is it? 4.07. What about the chlorine? 71.65. How do you get the number of moles of atoms? 24.27 by 12. That is like what? 2.02 approximately. This is anyway 4.07 by 1 means what? That is 4.07. This is what? 71.65 by 35.5. That is also close to what? 2.02. So we have to get what is the simplest ratio of these atoms. For that, what we will do? We will see which is the least of them. We will pick 2.02. Divide everything by that. 2.02 by 2.02 means what? 1. 4.07 by 2.02 means we will approximate it to what? 2. Because we will have to at the end of the day get simple whole numbers, right? Last one is what? That is also 1. So look at this. What is it? C1, CH2Cl1. So what is the empirical formula? CH2Cl. This is the empirical formula. We got it. Now from here, look at this. The question is not over. They are giving us the molar mass. What is the molar mass? 98.96 grams. We have to also find what is the molecular formula. So how do we do it? Remember, to find out the molecular formula, we should know what is the common factor. What we should find? We should find what is the common factor, right? So how do we get the common factor? Based on the empirical formula, we can find what is the empirical mass. So what will be the empirical mass? See here we have 1 carbon, 12, 2 hydrogens, 2, 1 chlorine, 35.5. What is it totally? This will be 14 plus 35.5 means what? The empirical mass. Empirical mass in this case will be what? It will be 49.5 in terms of grams you can take. What is the molar mass given to us? 98.96 grams. So the common factor is what? Molar mass divided by empirical mass. So here also we can go with approximations. Generally 99 by 49.5 is 2, because 49.5 into 2 is what? 99. Numerator we don't have 99, we have what? 98.96, but approximately what is it? 2. So the common factor, because everything has to be in whole numbers, right? Common factor will be whole number. So what is the common factor here? It is 2, which means the molecular formula. So what will be the molecular formula we'll have here? The empirical formula twice, which is what? C2H4Cl2. Because what is the empirical formula? CH2Cl, right? Everything will be doubled. So it will become what? C2H4 will come and Cl2. This is what is the molecular formula. So this is how we will be able to get the empirical formula and molecular formula from the mass percentage values of different elements in a compound. You can try and solve a couple of more questions also. So this is about the part 3 video, and we'll see in the next part 4. Okay.